guys, so I am here. So you're gonna be like, Olivia, how many books did you read in the month of May? And I read 12. So I'm just going to, since I got this notebook, I decided, okay, it's going to be my booktube notebook, and so far I have written in it and made it my own. I made a list in the notebook and what I gave the book as a rating, so I'm just gonna get started with that. So the first book I read was Just One Day by Gail Forman, and this a 5 out of 5 stars. It was a really cute story and I really did enjoy it, and I hope to get to the second one if I ever get to the second one, because I think it's a really good summer read for me. So I hope to read it soon. Next one that I read is a short little 2 novellas and 1 bind-up, and that is Cruel Crown by Victoria Aveyard, and I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I had been disconnected from this world for quite some time because I hadn't read this book until a long time after Red Queen came out, and I was kind of confused, but I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. Okay, so I decided that this month I would try and read all of the Percy Jackson books. So the first 2 so far that I had read in the month of May was The Lightning Thief and The Sea of Monsters, both in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series by Rick Riordan, and I gave these 2 5 out of 5 stars, like always, because this story always captivates me, and I always love rereading Percy Jackson because Percy Jackson is a sass master and I love him so. As I was reading all of the Percy Jackson series, I was trying to get myself caught up for this one single book that I had anticipated for the longest time, and that is The Trials of Apollo, The Hidden Oracle by Rick Riordan. And I had to reread most of the Percy Jackson books because I forgot somewhat what was happening. I didn't read The Heroes of Olympus yet because I didn't do it, and plus it was more recent in my mind. But this one, I loved it so much. 5 out of 5 stars, as always, because Rick Riordan always has this fun kind of writing, and I love the perspective of Apollo as a mortal, and it was kind of funny because I wasn't expecting him to make a god vibe, and I love that aspect because, we don't get a lot of LGBT in writing. So I love how he brought up the fact that Apollo has dated men and women, and the fact that Nico and Will are together in this book, and it's so cute, and I started shipping it so bad. So this one was another anticipated read for the month of May, The Jumbo, A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. And this book, I swear guys, this book is the best thing I've ever read. It took me a few days, but it was worth it because I gave a 5 out of 5 stars, and it makes me want to reread it because I love this story so much, and because I've seen Whitney from Witty Novels do her Snapchat updates with this book, and then Christine Riccio was doing it, and so did everyone else. So I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars, and I loved it so much, and I can't wait for the next one to come out. Guys, Reese is my new favorite. Just saying. The next few books are books that I had on my TBR for this month, and I got through all of my books for this TBR month, and I was so proud of myself, and I am so glad that I read these because I didn't know what I was missing out on, so I'm just going to share them. The Dangerous Days of Daniel X by James Patterson, and if you remember, this was on my TBR for May, and this is a 4 out of 5 stars, and I had looked on Goodreads before I read this, and it had gotten okay reviews, maybe some bad reviews, and I was kind of scared because, if it was James Patterson, I knew I was probably going to like it, but I didn't want to get my hopes up, so I decided to read it. And it was kind of weird at first getting into the vibe of Daniel X because I was so used to being in the mind of Max from Ride, or from Tandy from The Confessions of a Murder Suspect, or Wit and Wisty from the Witch and Wizard series. This one definitely was a different perspective for me, and it was really good, and again I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Also a James Patterson book. The next few are James Patterson books. And the next was Witch and Wizard by James Patterson, and this was a reread for me, but I had never owned this book, and it's about basically two teenagers, one boy, one girl, who are practically twins, and they are a witch and a wizard, and they live in this world where witches and wizards are being prosecuted, sort of like in the Salem witch trials. And props to James Patterson for bringing in Max and her flock, sort of like back referencing them, and I loved it. And this one I also gave a 4 out of 5 stars. James Patterson book that I read was the 4th book in the Confessions series, and this one was Confessions: Murder of an Angel. And this one really brought the whole quartet, I guess you could say, together. I don't know if there's going to be another book, but this really did bring the whole quartet together, and it really did solve some mysteries. And I also gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I went ahead and I read The Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Reese Brennan, and Maureen Johnson. And this is basically a whole bind-up of novellas about the one and only Magnus Bane, and I really did enjoy this. I was going into it thinking, oh, it's gonna have like all the secrets of Magnus Bane, but it was actually just like different points in time of Magnus Bane's life, and I really did like this. I actually did, and I'm glad that I got this. I loved it. I really did, and I can't wait for her to make her new series about Magnus Bane, because Magnus Bane is absolute bae. So the next book that I had, I think it was on my TBR as well, and this is The Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard, and this is the 2nd book in the Red Queen series trilogy. I don't know what it is yet, but this one I kind of felt bad about, because at one point I was reading the book, and because I hadn't read Red Queen in such a long time, that I forgot some of the characters and their relationships. And I think it was more my fault than it was her fault, but I feel like she should have just went over the character relationships just one more time, like in the beginning. And I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. I mean, it's not the greatest sequel, but I mean, I did enjoy it in the end. I mean, the ending was very predictable. The next book was a book that I had wanted to read for a long time, and I was just like, when am I going to get to it? Like, I don't know when. And that is The Heir by Kiera Cass, and this is the 4th book, I guess you could say, in the Selection series. And I was okay with the Selection series, or the Selection trilogy ending with the one, but now that I read The Heir, I kind of thought it was like it was okay. I mean, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, but I just feel like she could have stopped at the one. I just have some weird feelings about this book. Yes, I did finish it within like a day and a half, but I just was not like in the mood for like this type of character, because she didn't really make the cut as a character for me. So I'm just gonna say this was a 4 out of 5 stars. I mean, it could have been a 5 out of 5 if, you know, it was the best thing. I had already told you that I read the first 2 in this video, and that I read The Titan's Curse, The Battle of the Labyrinth, and The Last Olympian, all by Rick Riordan, and they are in the Percy Jackson Olympian series again. And I decided just to marathon this whole entire series this month, because it was a big deal for me to try and reread the first series, so then I could try and move on to the Heroes of Olympus. And it did not disappoint. I forgot a lot of things have happened between the whole God and Titans thing. I discovered while reading the series that Nico D'Angelo, he is now going to be, and forever be, my son, in the fact that he's just so cute little cinnamon roll, and I can't get over him. I gave the rest of these a 5 out of 5 stars. And yes, now we're on to the portion of my video where I tell you my TBR for June. And I can't believe it's almost 6 months into the year already. Like, it's insane. So I am going to show you the 4 books that I hope to get to in June, but there will be definitely more books that I'm going to be reading. The first book that I plan to be reading is Dorothy Must Die by Daniel Page. And I'm very excited to get to this because I have been putting it off for a while now, ever since maybe the end of senior year of high school. But I had gotten this book maybe earlier in the month of May, and I got it along with A Court of Mist and Fury and Trials of Apollo, and I can't wait to read this because I absolutely love the story of the Wizard of Oz, and I can't wait to see what turns and twists this takes me on for a story. And I'm really excited because this book series, this trilogy just ended, I think, but I also want to read her new story series that's coming out called Stealing Snow, which comes out later this year, and I'm totally excited. The book I showed in a book haul, or next three are from the book haul that I showed you, and I want to read We'll Always Have Summer by Jenny Han. I'm also planning on rereading The Summer I Turned Pretty and It's Not Summer Without You, both by Jenny Han, and they are the books before this last book in the series. And I can't wait to read it because it's a great summer read, and it's going to be fun. And the next book I also want to read is Luck's Opposition by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and this is the last in the series, I think, from the Luck series, and I can't wait to see how it all wraps up and see how it all goes, and I'm excited because, you know, Damon everyone. The last book that I really want to start on is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas, and as you see, it's a signed copy, and I had to do book surgery on it. But anyway, I can't wait to read this because I had finished Heir of Fire, and I'm going to plan on rereading the Throne of Glass series so I can get myself caught up on Queen of Shadows. But yes, that was my May wrap-up / June TBR, and I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all later. My name is Olivia, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!